please feel free. No question is a bad question. You want to be free and ask any question to the panelists here. We want to make good use of this time.
Now, we'll receive your invitation through email.
Welcome.
My question, it's what, 10, 12 years after 9/11 now. How do you feel the current state of events going on in the country now between America and what's going on in the Middle East?
Hello, my name is Ali Salem. With regards to, where we were as a country right after 9/11 and kind of where we progressed to, I was on a panel recently at SMU discussing this exact topic. And in my assessment of the situation from my own personal experiences, with regards to us versus Middle East versus, all parts of the world and kind of the sentiment, I feel like we have digressed, actually. We've made some progresses in some areas, but personally I feel we've digressed as a nation on the discourse of discussion of religious freedom, discussion of the Muslims' place in the public society, in the public sphere. So personally I feel like we've kind of taken some steps backwards. There's other arenas where I've seen gatherings like these are very evident to that regard, that we've made some steps and progresses in the right direction. But I feel as though, and extremely with our political atmosphere right now, that the discourse is kind of, started plummeting. And so we've had to come back with a little bit more vigor with regards to helping to explain things. And, I thought at this point we would be much further in the process. But that's just my take on it. Anybody else wants to speak? Is that answering the question?
And I have a question, but before the question, let me say that I recognize that we have a problem in the West with violence against women. We see it in the papers and we hear it on the news every day. I also have a question related to things that we read, for instance, that happened in Afghanistan or to women, or some of the countries where honor killings.
The incidents you cited, violence against women in countries such as Afghanistan, have no place in the religion of Islam whatsoever. And I want to repeat again, the violence against women that you might find in some parts of the Muslim world have no place in Islam whatsoever. They have no Quranic justification, no justification from the life of the Prophet Muhammad being the secondary source of Islamic law. And unfortunately, there are cultural elements attached to those societies in which oppression of this sort takes place. When we speak about the subject of honor killings, unfortunately it's something that doesn't only happen in a Muslim country, it happens in the United States of America, happens in South America, happens in Oriental countries, and there's no religious justification for it at all. And as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the subjects of crime or subjects of murder, or taking the life of an individual, can only be under the law. The law says, for example, one person killed another person, then the retribution for that in Islam will be for him to give his life, eye for an eye, like that. So there is no religious justification. Unfortunately, today when we hear about these incidences, we have to be honest about the media and the agenda behind media, and that's why we want to have an open discussion, a forum for open discussion. There's always an agenda behind the propagation of such news, and God knows what the true agenda is. But whenever something is committed by a Muslim, any act of any atrocity, any crime, then immediately you'll find the term Muslim with it. A Muslim commits this crime. But when somebody of another race or religion commits the same crime, you won't find, a Christian committed this crime, or a Jew committed this crime, or a Hindu committed this crime. I mean, honor killings are rampant in Hindus and Sikhs as well. If you go to India, you'll find so many girls that get killed because they want to marry a Muslim guy, for example. They want to run off with a Muslim guy. I mean, I've seen it in my own eye, not in front of my own eye, but growing up in London, there were a few incidents like that of Sikh girls that were murdered by their families for wanting to marry somebody who's non-Sikh. So you'll find honor killings, unfortunately, taking place in many communities and societies. But when a Muslim does it, unfortunately, the name Islam gets tarnished with it and associated with it. hope that answers your question.
Very good question. One thing I think we need to clearly distinguish is sometimes people kind of mix a tribal culture and mistake that for Islamic culture. What you see in Afghanistan and other parts of the country, of that world, is very much tribally driven. These are very tribalistic people. So they have the tribal traditions where it's a very patriarchal society, and men basically is just very dominant, and women are very submissive. So anything that they do is driven by their tribal customs and cultures. So all the things that you see on the TV, that these bearded men beating up women and doing all kinds of things, nothing to do with Islam. Just like Armand explained. And any violence is nowhere justified in the Quran against women. So I understand that we need to make a clear distinction between tribal culture and Islam. And Islam is not a monolithic religion. There are different kinds of people, there are different kinds of practices. People practice Islam according to their understanding, based on their education and their literacy. So you have to make a distinction.
Thank you very much for the question. I believe that your point is that are they abusing the religion or misusing the religion? I would say yes, absolutely. And they justify what they do by their religion. I mean, this is their opinions or their philosophy, which is totally wrong. Unfortunately, they're quite ignorant. I would just relate them to what we have the problem. We have a similar problem here in the United States. We've had it for many years with people like the KKK, who justify what they do, and they believe they're being good Christians by, being racist and bigoted and, lynching and things. We even had the institution of slavery, which went on for generations here in the United States, and which was also justified according to Christianity. So, it's a similar case, and I think we in the West have the opportunity to, first of all, improve our relationship here